Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode.
Do you feel sometimes as a ambitious, high-achieving man that the process of recovery or rebooting or self-healing, whatever you want to call it, is just either too slow for you, not a good fit for your personality, or worse, do you feel that it is actually taking away something from you? You know that feeling you get when you sit down in the morning to do a morning routine and journal? There's another part of you that says, I know this is important, but I live in the real world, and the things that are actually going to impact me emotionally, they're things that need to be done now. There are calls that need to be made, there are emails that need to be sent, there's work that needs to be checked, there are clients that need to be followed up with, there are customers that need to be spoken to, there are accounts that need to be handled. There's a body that needs to be taken care of and fed, not a journal that needs to be written, not sitting down and clearing my mind of everything, not reflecting on my emotions, not having long conversations about how I feel or how I felt in the past. Like, let's be honest. Do you sometimes feel that way? Because there are men who become a part of Porn Reboot program and they feel that way, but they just don't want to say it because they've come in with a recovery mindset. The recovery mindset is that, oh, well, I guess I just have to really just slow everything down and sacrifice. That is not the mindset. A rebooter, if you are coming in and you feel that your morning routines and meditation and journaling and speaking to your accountability partners and talking to your coach and listening to others' emotions, if you feel that is a sacrifice, then you are going to, by default, compartmentalize the process of ending your compulsive behavior. Because you're just like, well, I just got to do this temporarily. And then once I'm done with this sacrifice and I'm free of this behavior, I can turn back achiever mode. In fact, in your day-to-day life, that's what you're thinking. It's like a switch. Turn off one mode and then turn on the other. I'll do my morning routine slow and then I'll turn on achiever mode. Let me give you some, I'll just call it vibes. I'm going to take what statements that we may bring up or statements which may come up for us when we are in what we think is recovery mode or in a healing mode. And then I'll bring up some statements that we bring up or come up for us when we are in high achiever mode. So when you're in healing mode, a statement that might come up is something like, I just want to help other people, even if I need to sacrifice my own needs in order to do so. So that's when you are in a mode of, my accountability partner really needs help. I know I could be spending this time watching this show with my wife, and this connection time with my wife, this is the thing we do. This is important to me. But you sacrifice that because your accountability partner is in a relapse. That's when you're in that mode of being caring and being sacrificial. Another statement which could come up is something like, you know what, money isn't that important. It's about spiritual growth, and it's the journey that's important. And that's true too. Money isn't that important, but you also, it's a statement that might come up when you sit down to meditate or pray, or you make a decision to prioritize church or something with your religion, when you could be working or making a call. So you justify it by saying that, you know what, the money isn't that important because at the end of the day, if I don't grow spiritually, then I have nothing. Another is, if I just focus on doing the work on myself, if I focus on my recovery, on my healing, then everything else that I want in life will come. It will manifest, or use whatever word you want to use. So you then fall into this belief that as long as you do the inner work, it will show in material things on the outside. which is also true, but only to an extent. And you know it because you do have material things on the outside, and it certainly did not take sitting down and meditating to get those things. And a final statement, internal statement, of course, that might come up is, you know what, I need to feel absolutely aligned. I need to feel at peace before I take any action. So I cannot be out of control. I cannot be compulsive. I cannot be easily triggered. I need to get to this magical place of peace and bliss and deep contentment within myself and control. And then I will take action. Now let's contrast it with the other side of you that's a high achiever, which is statements like, I can't make mistakes. I need to do things right. I need to nail these things, or else nothing is going to happen in my life. Perfect practice makes perfect, not practice makes perfect. That's one mindset, one statement that might come up. Another one is, I need to go for my goals, and I have to move with speed because I'm not getting younger. Like I have a limited period of time to accomplish things while my body and my mind can, while I'm young enough to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Another is, if I work hard and I work longer hours, then all my dreams are going to come through quicker. Quite literally, like you do have to work hard and you do have to work long hours many times in order to accomplish things. And you may hear other people say like, oh, it's about working smarter, not working harder. And you're like, fuck that. How about I work smart and I work hard? And another one is, if I'm not seeing results from my actions, then I must be doing something wrong. Like if I don't see any results and I'm working really hard, then something is wrong and I need to go back and look at the data. The interesting thing, especially if you relate to either of these modes, and you might take on aspects of this at different points in your reboot or in your journey, but the interesting thing is firmly in one or the other will not lead to you being free of this behavior. You need to be able to find balance between both of them. And it is within that balanced self-image that your freedom lies. I have worked very, very hard over the years through my reboots and through my journey with building elevated recovery to create a system and coaches and clients who embody both of these. Because think about it. If you choose the option of, I just want to help others, even if it means sacrificing my own needs, then you will embrace the very people-pleasing, nice guy aspect of yourself, which only builds resentment and typically has been the very thing that you have been medicating with your behavior with pornography. On the other hand, if you were to pick one from the high achiever side of things, such as, I need to reach my goals as soon as possible because I have limited time, then you will constantly find yourself overthinking. Why? Because you don't have all the skill sets and experience necessary to accomplish your goals. So your mind is just moving at 100 miles an hour. And you don't know how fast you can move. You don't know that you're breaking things as you're moving so fast. As a result, you medicate your lack of achievement because you cannot be grateful when you're moving that fast. You just never feel like you're winning. Even though you're accomplishing things, it's never the wins. They're just like, still, there's a guy who was younger than me who accomplished that quicker than me. So you never find joy in that. You end up medicating your lack of achievement with pornography. It can be said for all those things I mentioned. Let's pick one more from each side before we move forward. I need to feel absolutely at peace or free from my behavior or free from guilt and shame or in control, whatever, insert whatever, before I can take any action to move to the next step. That's just procrastination. That is just fear of your future success. And so you're just like, no. I need to end my behavior with pornography permanently before I do anything. Before I start a business, before I start dating, before I get into a relationship, it must be 100%. And it's not only that it's 100% in control, but I must feel. That's the tougher part. We can measure the other one. We can measure your sexual behavior externally, but the internal one is what makes it shady. Yeah, no. I need to just feel at peace, man. And I'm telling you, man, I'm not 100%. You never take action. You end up still using pornography because you're searching for something that you're never going to find, which is why we have the concept of defining your reboot. I require you to define your reboot for yourself before you leave the program. If not, you'll just hang around like people do in 12-step programs or visiting with their therapist indefinitely. Even your therapist doesn't have an endpoint for you. Even your therapist is not going to sit down and be like, one day just be like, Frank, I think our time together is over. I think it's come to an end. I think this relationship has run its course. I have no more questions to ask you. You, my friend, have become the best expert at yourself. That shit ain't happening. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm just saying that it's unlikely it's going to happen to you. The therapist needs to still get billed for their hour. Interestingly enough, because the therapist also might have that need to feel completely at peace before they take any action. They might feel that you need to be completely at peace, but that never comes. That day never comes because you are human. And thus, your life will not move forward. Now, on the other side of things, when we say things like, we don't get to make mistakes, like we have to be improving. How can you do something once, twice, or 5 times and still make a mistake on that thing you've done so many times? That is not an option. If I don't get this hiring process, if I don't get this profit and sheet, if I don't learn how to handle this customer's objection, if I don't learn how to get this ad converting, if I don't get this product and product customer match, if I don't get it right, nothing matters. I can't make these mistakes. You're telling your team, you're telling your partners, we can't be making mistakes, y'all. We need to be perfect. Again, I'm not being critical of this, but it is to have that alone without learning how to balance the other side of it is not going to help you end your behavior, because that mindset is also going to be medicated with pornography. It is not compatible with any sort of healing, because in healing, there are going to be mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to slip. And you already see it in your own life, in your reboot. When you become a part of a program like ours, and immediately you're just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe that I have slipped this way 5,000 times in my life. I can't believe I heard JK on a podcast tell me how to stop slipping this way. I can't believe I put money down and joined the program. And then JK told me, and then Dr. Eastman told me, and Dr. Rankin told me, and Chris told me, and Orestes told me, and GT told me, and everybody told me what to do. My accountability partners told me, and there are hundreds of posts in the groups where I saw other guys learning from that mistake, and I still took my phone to bed and randomly scrolled through Instagram and ended up slipping and masturbating later. Like, that means that I will never be free of this behavior. Why? Because your primary high achiever belief is that mistakes are not an option. So you never see that the rebooting process works differently. That's how people get stuck. Right? So I'm going to make this a series because I do have a lot to say about it, but I will end it with giving you a peek into what a rebooter is supposed to look like, what balance looks like. I do believe that being a high achiever is a skill set that is picked up based on certain emotions, based on the ways you were raised and nurtured. I also believe that being the calm, self-reflective, healing person is also a skill set. That ability to be spiritual, to slow down. There's some of you who can sit and journal and dialogue for hours. Those of you who can have empathetic conversations with others. I also believe that it's a skill set. But what I have seen over the years is that men fall too far and too firmly into one or the other. There is a middle ground, which does involve emotional resilience, which does involve an ability to be compassionate, which does involve also an ability to be a go-getter. Again, to reiterate, I spent many years developing this within myself. I can sit with a man and I can be absolutely vulnerable with a client and cry with them. If you're not a part of our program, you're like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you cry? And I'm not a therapist, y'all. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a professional reboot coach. I have a bunch of certifications and a bunch of things which don't fucking matter, because the only thing that matters is the system of rebooting that came out of all of that and my personal experience as well. And what that means, what rebooting allows me to do, is it allows me to feel another man's emotions as a human being and just always remember where I came from and who I am, and that we are just human beings, two humans just fucking figuring out this life shit. And sometimes it is so fucking painful emotionally. It doesn't matter what time of the day I'm having this call with this brother, but we are going fucking deep. I may cry. He may cry. I'm saying the cry thing because as men, it's somehow taboo to do that. But we do that. I'm like, I love you and I love you too. And then right after that, I can switch into a completely different mode where a few hours later, I'm doing a deal or I am firing somebody and there's no emotion involved in it. I'm just letting go of somebody who has worked with me for many years and moving on, because that's a professional thing. There is balance there. So in the next episode, I'm going to be breaking down what it means to be a rebooter and how to have that skill set, the traits that you would need to have. I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser right now of, like, I would say the first 7 or 8 different traits. The first is a rebooter knows what their main unresolved issue or trauma is. But a rebooter also refuses to be defined by it. And what this simply means is that you may be diagnosed with something or you may not be, but you've done the work to realize what happened to you and how you got to this point in your life with your behavior, but you're not going to let it define any aspect of your life. A rebooter is also able to face very strong emotions, get close to those strong emotions, and then transform or transmute them into fuel for future growth. I think that's self-explanatory. A rebooter can also deal with very hard things and not lose themselves in it, which means that you can have hard things happening in your life. You can be going through a season which could be lasting for years with very strong emotions like anxiety and fear recurring. And I'll be honest with you, right now, I am going through a season of my life where there's a lot of anxiety. I actually didn't realize this till a few sessions ago, working with clients in the intensive program. I realized, there are quite a few guys who are dealing with recurring anxiety. And then after a therapy session of mine, I realized, shit, like I actually have been dealing with a very deep anxiety. It's just been there. But I have trained myself to just be aware of it in my periphery without it breaking me down. You know how you can have a strong emotion that's in the background and you're great at compartmentalizing it, but eventually it breaks out as porn or alcohol or one thing or the other. And I realized that just during my morning meditations or when I'm journaling or whatever sort of self-care work I'm doing, I just let the anxiety come out and just be aware of it. I give it its time and then I move on with my day. I also know the situation that's leading to it. Actually, thanks to talking to my clients, I'm like, I think I know what it is. I'm working on it. A rebooter understands that relationships require effort, often more effort than you think is necessary. A rebooter often acts before they feel ready. This is a big one. Many men wait. They wait to feel ready to do something. Like, I need to feel that it's right. I need to think about it. This is no way to go through life. This one, I can assure you of. This is one of literally the things that I changed that catapulted my success. I stopped acting before I felt I was ready. I just pulled the trigger and I was like, let's go. You're going to die anyway, JK. So you better quit wasting this time that you're never going to get. Anytime you wait to feel ready, you think you're making a smart decision. Oftentimes, you are wasting time that you'll never get back. So you need to become an expert at asking yourself, am I procrastinating from making a decision because I'm afraid of something good that could happen? Or am I just scared? Not just scared of something good that could happen. Am I uneducated when it comes to this topic? Am I afraid of success and so on? A rebooter owns their desire for happiness, for health, for wealth, for anything that they want in life without guilt. I'll say it again. A rebooter you own your desire for all these things, and you are not guilty about it. So I'll stop there. In the next episode, I'll dive deeper into it, and I'll talk about the traits of the different types of men on both sides of the spectrum and how you can develop these traits as a rebooter.
I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is, if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.